Hello and welcome my fab fans to Glam's new video. My last try of filming this, it decided it didn't want to record properly, and I'm still trying to figure out how to fix that by contacting the support of the app. I'm still waiting for my other video to upload, which is annoying. Do you consider jelly a sauce? Because I feel uncomfortable thinking that it could possibly be a sauce. But also, where I work, so many people keep asking if we have jelly. We don't. We haven't for years. We have honey and we have butter. That's it. But also, who puts jelly on a biscuit? It, like, I shouldn't judge anyone for it because to each their own with flavor. But biscuits to me are something I eat with something savory. Like, I eat a biscuit with pasta or I eat it with chicken. I don't eat a biscuit with breakfast or anything that I'd consider a, a sweet food. I mean, chicken can be considered a morning food if you eat it with waffles, but most of the time I can see chicken as a dinner food. I have a feeling my old moderator is going to get a divorce one day. I mean, every single time I've said something about them and showed messages about them, they always seemed extremely selfish, according to my coworkers and friends and people I'm around. And yes, I will admit, I do say things badly sometimes, but Usually once I explain what I mean. Usually people understand I'm just talking about circumstances I've witnessed. So one of the videos that was recommended to me on YouTube recently was a video about, so this is what loneliness does to a person, or like not having any form of romantic connection can do to a person. And I was just like, well, that makes sense that it would give a person like depression, anxiety, make their issues worse. People need friends and connection and love. Like, as much as I wish a person could fit into my schedule without me changing anything, I also know that's not really fully possible unless you live with a person. But I still find it baffling that if you live with a person, you won't discuss your schedules with each other, and then you decide to have kids with each other, and then won't discuss your schedules around the kids and with the kids involved. Baffles me. Like, yeah, it does take a long time to develop a skill. I would know that. If you're going to exercise, you have to do it basically daily. If you want to build up a certain physique, you have to do something daily to keep up with it and maintain it. I mean, I do physical therapy, and that's something I have to do every single day. Otherwise, my body will go back to being in a state where I am physically not capable of moving as well as I would like. It's helped build my mobility because I do it every single day. But I still get other shit done. I still spend time with my nephew in my free time. I still do a bunch. My lack of anything for some things doesn't change my ability to make time for others. Do I like leaving my house? Not really. I prefer it when people hang out with me at my house because I don't really like going out. But when I was first starting college, I did make time to go out, and I actually have gone to a party before, like on purpose. And then I even made time to go do a cookout with my coworkers because they're really cool people. Oops. I have no idea what happened to those beads that I was holding. I was gonna break them in half because I didn't like how they were connected to each other. Oh, there's pink. A lot of pink. She's very pink. Imagine predicting something that happens in a show. My God. Imagine being a person's awakening for a foot fetish or like an armpit fetish. That would be wild. Feels so powerful if I guess something that actually happened into the anime. Also, I know exactly when Miss Joke shows up again and in the final battle because I forgot entirely. Um, and I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I actually don't remember her quirk. It's been too long. But I was like, yeah, she finally shows up again. I still need to watch like the My Hero Academia movies because they have information in them that I miss if you only watch the show. I'm using a sleep mask to keep my hair off my neck because I'm sweating a lot because I just wore my Omni costume. It was so warm, and I got stuck in it for like 30 minutes trying to finick with the zipper because it got caught on the inside inner lining fabric. It's not long enough for it to not get caught, so it's just easily caught on the zipper, especially with how tight the costume is, which is probably why it kept getting stuck. So, who doesn't put ketchup on a hot dog? Ketchup's amazing on hot dogs. Though I also like putting beef and onions on mine. I have beef in my fridge. I can make myself more taco meat. You should. You ever put butter on a pop tart? So freaking good. Ever put butter on a pop tart? If you haven't, then I think you should. Something a person should never do on a public Wi-Fi server though is like type in passwords or anything that's like private information because people can see that if they just connect to the Wi-Fi server. And there are people who actually make fake Wi-Fi servers purposely to collect our private data in hopes people sign up for things online. Something I do that is really insane is I change my password almost every single day. Not because of any valid reason, but because I forget my passwords and I can't remember them for shit. So I still do extremely complicated passwords, like keyboard slams type password, and then I just forget it because it doesn't matter. I'll just change it again. And you know how secure that is? Probably more secure than 1234 or the word password. Because do you know how common it is for password to be a person's password? I think like they did research and it was like 82% of people use password as their password or like password 123. Do you know how stupid that is? There's a reason they tell you not to make passwords something super obvious, and they also tell you not to make passwords like anything related to you in your life. Like it can't be a parent name, it can't be an animal name or a pet name, because then people can just guess that. Like if you're going to make a password to an anime site, why are you going to make it something related to anime? People would guess that. And God forbid you use a similar rendition of the exact same password, just with different numbers. People can guess that too. Also, I did not know that a person was obsessed with me until their wife told me. I just wanted a friend. And I was like, these are awesome costumes. Not confident enough for them, but they're pretty awesome. Okay, Kaiser. I want to get a case done. I feel like once I'm done with like the face, the hair is gonna go by really fast. Mainly because the hair is more flat colors and not so much differentiation. I don't have to place as many one by one for the hair. Also, I told one of my moderators that I made a character based off of them, even though I didn't, because I wanted them to be like happy and feel like included. I made that character before I even knew who they were or even knew about them existing. I do not know why they didn't call me out for that. I was just trying to be nice, like make them feel like they were part of the story because I knew they felt like a kinship to the character. And sometimes I will purposely say something in order to make a person feel welcomed or comfortable. The face is looking more and more like pretty as I get beads down. Because it looked really awful when I first placed the shadow beads down because the underneath color did not look dark enough to make it a shadow that looked pretty. It basically looked like an unblended contour placement. Her pupils are like really big. Also, a funny thing I like to do is I will say man child or woman child or just call a person a child if they like video games or anything nerdy. It's not an insult, it's just funny to me. Because the first time I heard Sabrina Carpenter say man child, I had no idea what it actually meant. And I was like, well, I still don't know what it means, but it's really fun to say. So now I just refer to everyone as children. Just if they like if they like fun things for no reason other than I can. It's funny. I did explain to them that I actually have no idea what it means. And so it's not necessarily me insulting them, but me just being like, yeah, this is just another word in the vocabulary, and you can only give it power over you if you choose to. Also, a person choosing to think I'm insulting them instead of just stating advice that I think is good advice and just talking about things I've been through and how if like, hey, if you don't want to spend time with your children, this is what would happen. I don't know how long they spend with their kids. I wasn't calling them a bad father, but they thought I was. Still don't know why. Though I had a person assume my dad was always a drug addict. No, that was a new thing he did. But I could see how a person smoking weed and drinking could inherently become a drug addict, like a deeper one. It's when the effects of the drugs stop working or helping. My friend has chronic migraines. I believe she has a tumor, but she has had a lot of brain scans in her life, but I still believe there's something in there that they have not seen. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. My dad, being himself, he falls into wrong crowds really easily. And my friend even pointed out that she thinks her kid would be the exact type of kid to fall into the wrong crowd quite easily because of his just follow along attitude. And I hope not. I hope for people to not end up in the wrong crowd, but I will talk about my own personal experiences and what I've been through and what I've seen. Also, a parent saying that a person who has never been a parent wouldn't know how to parent is ridiculous because you've been a child. You know what you want from your parents. I feel like a person who has had parents would know what they want from parents the most. I used to have a better funnel, but I don't know where I put it. And so I was just using this paper one that I made a while ago. I made it for glitter because I didn't want to use my silicone one for glitter because of obvious reasons. It would stick to the silicone. Um, but then I lost the silicone one, so now I'm just like upset that I can't find it. But oh well. I do feel bad that they thought I was trying to make them upset. That wasn't my goal. But they kept getting more upset regardless of how I was trying to explain it. So it wasn't a it wasn't a winning situation no matter what. And I will talk about anything online because, well, I'm not part of a contract to keep secrets. But that same person who got angry at me also stalked my account to find out my friend. They basically went through my account and searched for my friend's account through my friends list, which she did not want happening at all. And she found that insanely creepy that a strange married man wanted to be friends with her who has a fiance. Married men shouldn't be looking out for women. They should be focusing on their own woman. You can have an interest in cosplay and not look at the women that are in the cosplay, but at the cosplay itself, because women are not objects. I will repeat that for the people in the back. Women are not objects. They never have been. There was a time period where they were seen as one and as just a product to be sold, but in an essence, they never were an object. They were people. Same thing with slavery when it was a thing. Those people were considered objects when they weren't. They were people. They were always people. People who deserved a name and deserved a place in this world, but not the pain and anguish that came with living. I can be quite harsh with my words, and I can talk about things very strictly and in a very systematic way. It's usually not directed at a person, but just talking about events. But people can take that personally, apparently. Noted for future analysts. Mainly because I've never really known how to talk to people. I mean, it's been years and I'm still struggling with talking to people. But if there's anything, I'm glad that old people and stuff really appreciate my honesty and straightforwardness because they're very honest and straightforward. But one thing I wish my grandmother understood more was empathy. She's one of the least empathetic people I know. She can sympathize, but that's not needed when you are facing a person who's in emotional distress. You need empathy. You need to know where they're coming from and what they've been through. I don't know most people's life stories. I don't know everything they've been through. I know a lot because they tell me a lot, but I don't know everything. I don't know the day to day of their lives. I don't know what they're doing or how they schedule. I mean, his wife has a more flexible schedule than him, which means, in an essence, she'd be the one changing her schedule to work around his so that they'd have enough time for both each other, their kids, and their personal activities. And then he got mad at me for it. I hope you know I'm coming from a place where I don't know what your current schedule is like, but it's clearly not working if both of you are exhausted emotionally and physically. But I showed my messages to one of my friends, and she was like, I wouldn't want to fuck him either. He looks like a cocky asshole who only cares about himself, was something one of my current friends said when she saw his picture. And I was like, damn, girl. I know you're keeping that like down. But he definitely acts like the type of person who wants everyone to look at him and think of only him. I might make a lot of cult jokes, but I'd never be in one. Her forehead's gonna be shiny. Shiny. To people who eat eggs, like raw eggs, isn't it like slimy? I feel like the texture is disgusting. Because, like, I won't even eat, like, scrambled eggs unless there's no ounce of, like, wetness. I'll season that shit up, like, beautifully, but it can't be wet. I don't want my eggs being wet. I didn't think there would be that many Ys on her forehead, but her forehead's real pale or real shiny. A lot of the colors in her face, though, are used in her hair. And I didn't think that would happen, but it makes sense. Because, like, reflections and stuff do, and the reflections of light do bounce back on our faces and stuff, and reflect from our hair, too. So the colors would naturally match each other slightly. Wake up, which means I probably should already be in bed right now. But I also know that means I have to kick the cat back to the downstairs. But they kind of leave him outside a lot, and we have a giant hawk in the neighborhood currently, so I don't think he should be outside at all since we have a litter box. And I just recently saw that hawk take a grown bunny and kill it. So, as much as I love hawks, I love my cats more. As much as I love birds, I value the safety of pets. I really hope that wasn't someone's cat. I feel like the more I would point out like bad attributes that they'd have, the more they started seeming like my brother in a way. Because my brother does this thing where he likes to isolate his girlfriend and try to make everyone hate her, even though she's done nothing wrong. And I see the same thing happening to her. So I'm really worried for her because she already talked about how she was kind of verbally abused by this man. And he would get really hyper aggressive and not and want sex constantly, even though she didn't. So I'm really worried for her. Anyway, peace, love, have a good day, my Fab fans, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye!